Welcome to the Business with Beers podcast. This is the place where we help entrepreneurs expand their business, build their wealth, and generate passive income. I'm your host, Brian Beers, an entrepreneur who's on a mission to inspire growth from everyone around me. Remember that you need to take the actions others won't, and you can live the life that others don't. Please be sure to check out my weekly newsletter that now drops every Thursday. It includes one quote, one tweet, one podcast recommendation, plus some business and investing insight from me. It's short and it's sweet. My goal is to provide you with just a couple gold nuggets to help inspire your growth. Go to brianbeers.com to subscribe. Hello, everyone. I'm excited today to bring you Steve Montgomery. Steve is the founder and CEO of ResiBrands and the founder and brand president of That One Painter. His mission is to help others succeed through entrepreneurship and provide them with the tools and the support to build successful businesses. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Hey, thank you. I'm glad to be on.
Awesome. So let's start at 18 years old. You graduate high school, like what happens next? And, ultimately, how does this lead you to a road to becoming a franchisor?
Yeah. So my dad painted houses for a little while when I was in high school. He ended up going back into a different career. But when I was 18, my mom was a real estate agent at that time. And I kind of was going to college a little bit, but then on the breaks, I would grab my dad's old paint equipment and talk to my mom's clients or real estate agent friends who had clients that had homes that needed painted. And I would paint for them on the breaks. And I realized I was making pretty good money. I didn't have to work during the semester because I'd make enough money in the few weeks that I was off painting houses to not have to work during the actual school semester. And so I didn't really like college. After about 3 semesters, I dropped out and got married to a girl that I met at, it was actually Bible college. And right after we got married, decided it was time to start my own business. I couldn't stand working for anybody else. And so with basically no money in my bank account and what I thought was one job, I thought I had one job booked. I was like, I got this guy. I can do this first job and get that going. So I quit my job. And then that guy canceled the painting job. So I had no jobs on the calendar. And I had been doing it off and on here and there, like I said, for a few years from 18 to 21, but 21 got married, started the business. The first job that I was supposed to have, he canceled. And so I'm sitting there, not sure what to do, just quit my job. And I decided I was going to go talk to every single real estate agent in town. And because that's how I'd gotten business before when I was doing it as a side hustle. And so I just talked to real estate agents, pretty quickly got some leads and talked to people and was able to do some estimates. And then I remember very specifically, and I like telling this story because it just gives some perspective. I think for anybody who's considered me an entrepreneur, I remember it was like a few weeks into being an entrepreneur, starting my business. I had done like one job and had some more lined up for like the next week. And it was just, me. And I woke up, my wife was working at Starbucks, so she had left early already. I woke up around, 10 a.m. because I didn't have anything to do that day. I turned the PlayStation on to play Skyrim. I had my full set of dragon armor. I don't know if anybody is familiar with that game back in the day. It was a great game. I was, good 70% way through that game. I was all stoked to have the day off and play. But I had this moment where I was like, there's no way I'm going to be successful if in the middle of the week I'm playing Skyrim. Like, there's no way. Yeah. And so I was like, I made this rule. I was like, if I want to be in business for myself, I need to work if the sun is up. And so I made the rule that if the sun was up and until the sun was down, I was going to be working on building that business and getting as many painting gigs as I could. So I just made this rule. I wouldn't play video games. I wouldn't do anything fun if the sun was up. And that meant that I was painting all day. And then during dusk, I was doing estimates. And then when it was dark, I could go home. And that worked. And I built the business pretty soon. I was able to hire some friends and they started working for me as like painting helpers and taping off and rolling and that kind of easy stuff. And then it grew from there. And then
what year was that?
That was 2011. And so for several years, it was me and like 3 helpers, and we're just kind of operating as one crew, painting houses together. And so I'd paint all day with my team, and then in the evenings I would do estimates. I was pretty happy there for a while, making good money painting. But then I realized at some point I had to put the brush down if I'm going to grow further.
Yep.
And putting the brush down was hard. I think most tradespeople would relate to this, because going from a role where you're physically doing the work that makes you money to then doing work that is not like direct
intellectual work or whatever.
It is. Yeah. It's
physical.
Going to a networking event. It's accounting. It's organization. It's all that kind of stuff that indirectly makes you money. Is really hard, and it's really hard to get to the spot where you like will not pick up the brush again. I remember I had this one day where I was like, I'm not picking the brush up again unless it's for training. Unless it's for training, I will not pick up the brush. So if I go and I see him doing it wrong, I'll show him how to do it right, but that I won't pick it up to actually do the work. And that was a critical moment, because then I was able to go from kind of, if you've read the E-Myth, right? The technician to the manager. So I think I went from technician to manager when I was like, I won't pick up the brush again. And that's when I started I was able to grow the business, because I started focusing on sales and networking. And then I had 2 crews full-time and 2 backup crews I used part-time. And that was a great season where I was kind of in that management mode. And that was probably another few years for me, because I've been doing this since 2011 full-time, and then a couple of years before that as a side hustle. So I did a few years kind of that manager mindset. And then in 2018, I decided, I was like, I really want to scale. Like, I made the goal I was going to be the biggest painting company in Austin, Texas. And then I went from kind of thinking like a manager to thinking like an entrepreneur. And that's when I really got invested in systems. I picked the software that I liked. I got in with a marketing agency. We started running ads. I started writing SOPs, and this is before I really even wanted to franchise. I just had read the E-Myth and some other tools, and I talked to some other business owners. They're like, you have to have training if you want to grow. You have to have a way to train your employees quickly and hold them accountable and all that. And so I started developing systems in 2018. And in 2019, I hired a project manager and administrator, and we grew to like 8 or 9 crews that year. And it just kept growing from there, 2020. And then 2020 is when I started to really think about franchising and started to really developing the systems. And then we launched our franchise in 2021.
Okay. And then for some perspective, so how many franchisees do you have today?
We have 50 owners and 71 units. Okay.
And is it highly condensed in Texas, or kind of where's it all over?
So we're in 11 states now. Okay. We are, I would say, we have a lot in Texas, but we're in 11 states now.
Okay. Yeah, maybe their history, you're pretty good at like kind of setting this goal and then going after it, right? Not playing video games if the sun's up. Putting the brush down.
I've never finished Skyrim. It's one of my regrets in life.
Maybe you have time now, but so what's the franchise goal then? Like, so you have all these goals. What's the franchise goal?
Yeah, I change goals often, but we have some goals that we're working towards.
Milestone. You have like milestones.
Milestones, yeah. And when I started to research franchising, I decided that I would only do it if I really thought I could get to 20 units. I did the math over and over again, and I was like, if I don't get to 20 units, I'd just rather own a couple corporate locations. And so I really thought long and hard, and we made the goal 20 units. We launched, we sold several really quickly, and I was like, well, 20 is going to be too easy.
Yeah.
20 is going to be way too easy. So I kind of a fan of Grant Cardone. I was reading his book 10X. So I was like, we're going to 10X it. 200 is the goal. And so we set a goal of 200 units for that one painter. I believe that we will hit it in 2024.
If you're at 70, I mean, it depends how you count it, but if you're counting territories, right, that'd be 70-ish.
Yeah. So it's counting territories, 200 is what we're shooting for as quickly as possible. We will surpass 100 probably sometime in the summer, get to maybe 120, 150 by the end of the year. And then we think sometime next year in 2024, we'll hit the 200 goal for that one painter. And then with Resi, we have some bigger goals now than that. So,
yep. Cool. We'll touch on that one in a minute. So going back to what, I guess a couple things. Why go franchising instead of going the corporate route?
Yeah. So franchising, I fell in love with it when I read the E-Myth, and then I just started researching it. I think there was really probably 3 things that I loved about franchising versus just opening up more corporate locations. One was it was an opportunity to help other people not work for somebody else. And like I said, like I started my company because I could not work for other people.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I don't, I'm sure I could, but I truly did not like working for other people. And I've always been that kind of personality. So for me, it was an opportunity to give other people the same opportunity that I wanted, which was to do things, to build my own business. So that was the biggest thing. And then the other part is that I really enjoy coaching, and I really enjoy building systems. And franchising is all about coaching and support and building a system. And so I'm obsessed with our system. I'm always going back and tweaking things and changing things, talking to franchisees, getting their input, and then like our training system, we're only been franchising for like 21 months or something like that, 22 months. And we're at like 4.0 of our training manuals. It's because it's not because the first round was bad. The first franchisees did great, but I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm doing that. So I love systems. I love the coaching and support. And the third reason is I'm super competitive. I'm very competitive. And franchising is a way to scratch that itch a little bit. So I get also the reward of being in a market where we can grow quickly and kind of have some fun in the sense of building a business and I'd say in a fun way, have some competition. Even among our franchisees, we keep scoreboards of everything, and we have a friendly sort of competitive mindset. Where it's a lot of fun. And so I get to help other people be entrepreneurs. I get to build systems and coach people, and we get to have some kind of internal and external competition that I find fun.
Yep. Okay, cool. And then, so what, selling, 70 units in less than 2 years. I mean, that's like a pretty fast growth compared to a lot of other franchises that I'm aware of. What do you attribute that growth to?
I would say that we have good numbers. That's part of it, but that's definitely not the only factor, because there's other franchises with good numbers too, in the sense of our item 19. But I really believe it's that we have a brand and a system that lets people scale and launch quickly. We have extremely happy franchisees, and we have built an amazing team here. And with that amazing team, our franchisees are happy. The consultants we work with like our brand, like our team. And I think it's like, I can't pinpoint it to one thing. I really
it's a combination of a couple things. Yeah.
And I really kind of identified it as like 8 things when I was creating a list of like what it took to like get to where we're at. It was really like 8 different things that I think all kind of played together. And it's everything from our team to our franchisees to the good numbers to a brand that people actually want to join, a simple system that's not overly complex. Anybody can do it. A lot of those things. So,
yep. So then what is, so we'll hit some of those numbers quickly. So what's it cost to start up, I guess, one territory?
Yeah. So it's currently $71,000 at the low end to 110. Yeah.
So franchise fee, additional marketing budget, some working capital.
Exactly.
Yep.
So for most franchisees, it costs around 80,000-90,000 is what it costs.
Yeah, which is like definitely on the low scale of other ones, right?
Yep.
Because there's no real assets, right? It's all labor based.
It's mostly the franchise fee, operating cash, and marketing expenses.
Yep. And then what is talk through the item 19 or whatever you can talk about in terms of earnings potential, either you as a corporate location or franchisees.
Yeah, so we have our item 19 from our original Austin location is been consistently around a $4 million location. Our second location launched and did $719,000 in its first 12 months. And then the new item 19 is coming out, and our franchisees are averaging from 2022, those who had a complete year in 2022 averaged over $1 million.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's pretty strong for their first 12 months of sales, right? Obviously, they've got a lot of expenses, but on an $80,000 investment, like that's probably a big part of the reason
to be able to have $1 million average. Yep.
How many territories would Austin be if it had to be cut up?
Yeah, so Austin's 3 territories.
3.
It would be 3 territories. So Our goal is to that every territory could represent $1 million in revenue. I'm not saying that it will. The operator actually has to actually spend the correct marketing, has to actually do the estimates and follow the procedures, treat customers well. Obviously, there's many factors to them actually hitting that, but we don't build territories unless we feel confident that there's enough customers there to do $1 million plus.
And then what's like, how scalable is a painting company? Is it one that it really is like it's a local business, and maybe, whatever, two, three, maybe you can do 4 million. But is it something you can build across multiple cities or multiple markets, or has that become really difficult because of the hands-on nature of it?
Yeah, it's very scalable. We have some franchisees now who have multiple territories. Some of them will take multiple territories and run it as one location. We now have franchisees that I have a territory in this city and I have a territory in this city over here, and different managements, different locations, running it separately, and are able to do that very well. We have one owner who has 4 locations. And so
in separate cities,
definitely scalable. Is very scalable if you get good at the subcontractor world. And so we have a unique way of viewing subcontracting. And so we bring subcontractors in, but they follow our systems. We even take them through our SOPs and our training and all that kind of stuff. And then we have some very strict parameters on how we treat subcontractors and how we pay them and all that kind of stuff. That really what it does is it attracts the best. And so our goal is that you're not having to train a whole bunch of painters. You can do that later, maybe when you're a more mature location. But in the beginning, you're just recruiting the best painters in the city to come work for you, because you're going to train them well. You're going to treat them well, and you're going to pay them on time. And I know that sounds crazy, but in the subcontracting world, being treated well and paid on time is not a normal thing. And if you do that, you can get the best painters in the city to come work for you. And the truth is that in most markets, most contractors, not even subcontractors, most contractors, not very good at marketing. They don't really understand the customer. So they walk into a home and they think it magically turns into their project, and it doesn't. It's still the customer's home. And so one of the things that we teach all of our franchisees and our subcontractors and our painters and everybody who works for us is that we're going to be the best house guest ever. Like, that's literally our slogan right across the top of that one painter's website. We're going to be your best house guest ever. And that says that we're going to clean up after ourselves. We're going to be respectful of your home. We're not going to overstay our stay, right? All those sort of principles of being a great house guest, we apply that to being a home service company, and we understand for the customer that it is even though we're here to provide a service, it's still an inconvenience for your home to be taken over for a week or 2 weeks sometimes if it's a very large project. And so that perspective, I believe, sets us apart. And a franchisee could have zero painting experience, but if they show up on time, they treat the home as though they're a good house guest, and they recruit the best subcontractors in the city, they're going to be quickly in the top 5% of those painting contractors in their city. And from there, the goal is to make them the number 1 painter in every single city.
So how does somebody with no painting experience determine if a subcontractor is a good painter?
Yeah, we have systems on that. We're going to teach them how. Yeah, this is how you properly walk,
interview them.
Yeah, back to the interviewing. We can tell them how to interview them, what questions ask, to even look at their equipment to see if it's professional equipment, all that kind of stuff.
God, you identify
this is a great painter. He has the right stuff. And then once you actually do a job, you have to babysit the first few jobs with a new one. And we teach them how to properly blue tape a house, how to properly inspect it, make sure it's done right. And we provide a lot of resources on paint education. I believe in 90 days, almost every one of our franchisees is pretty comfortable, but it takes about 90 days to get used to after launch, to get used to all the systems, to get used to all the lingo, all that kind of stuff. But definitely within 90 days, they're out there rocking and rolling, running that business with a lot of.
Does anybody ever move to an employee-based model?
Yeah, like in California, we've had to do that.
And even you in Austin don't really do that. Like, all your painters are still 1099s.
All of our painters are 1099s. And
you don't have an issue. I know the lines can be blurred sometimes depending on what you require of a contractor.
Yes. Yeah. And you need to make sure that in every state you're following whatever those parameters are. In Texas, we know exactly what they are. And with each state, we make sure we're up to date on what those parameters are versus subcontractor and employment. And we follow them. But I would say most of the painting done in the country is done by subcontractors.
Yep. Yeah. It's traditional.
In our trade, it's other than like California and maybe one or two other states, I would say 90% of the painting is done by subcontractors.
Yep. Yeah. So talk a little bit about kind of the marketing and, the call center side of it. This is, I think, a pretty unique thing that you guys have that really, is kind of part of your secret sauce here, which is like, you guys are a marketing company, right? That like paints houses, right? And this is one of your good skill sets. So what is, someone signs up, what does it look like from the inside in terms of the marketing, the call center, lead gen, all that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we developed an in-house appointment center. That was one of the first things I decided I was going to do when I was going to launch the franchise, was that I knew that it's really hard to run a business, take care of all this stuff while also trying to keep up with leads and do it in a timely manner. And we wanted to take that off the plate. We wanted to make it, you focus on operations, we'll focus on the leads. And so we developed the appointment center. As we developed the appointment center, started building that out, getting the software in place, all that kind of stuff, I then also wanted to build out the marketing and bring that in-house. And so what we did was, at our first few franchisees were with our marketing agency. And over the period of like 6-7 months, I would release the marketing agency from one thing at a time. So I released them from social media, then I released them from the website, then I released them from ads, and then I released them from SEO. And what I was doing internally is, as we were growing, I was hiring those roles inside of our company. And so we kind of did it in a strategic timeline in that first 10 months of our franchise, to where now we have a complete full in-house marketing agency where we've done it. And we didn't just like kind of rip the Band-Aid off. We did it in a slow way where we took it over, and it was a good transition, and built a full in-house marketing agency within what we do. And so we are running all of the advertising, SEO, website, social media, everything for our franchisees. And then all of those leads are getting funneled in, and then the appointment center is then booking them as estimate appointments for the franchisee or for the franchisee's manager or estimator.
Okay. Yeah. And then they're going on site, close a deal.
Exactly.
Or estimate to close it, get the painters to go, and kind of full cycle.
Yep.
So what are some of the metrics that you guys track or that franchisees can do to hold you guys accountable for that lead gen and that call conversions?
What we do is like everything's integrated, and we pull the data out of the CRM. Where the CRM we use, we really can do everything from that estimate appointment to the project to the invoicing. Everything has tags, and so we know how much was spent in Google, how much was spent on Facebook or Thumbtack,
and how many leads you got
what did
from
you
it.
Actually get jobs. And so we're able to show the franchisee more than most agencies could. We're not just cost per lead's nothing if the leads aren't good, right? Yep. So we have cost per lead, and our cost per lead is really good. But more importantly, we look at cost per estimate. How many of those leads converted into an actual appointment where you could talk to a customer and write an estimate for them? So we track cost per estimate, and then how many of those estimates turn into jobs, and out of those jobs, how well did you perform? And so we give them an ROI. So we give them cost per lead, cost per estimate, an ROI on their advertising expense versus the revenue that was brought in. And then we also even show them closing rates. So like we'll show them, hey, on Facebook, you're closing at 35%, and on Google, you're closing at 20%. So why are we not, the Google one's not closing as much, or it might be vice versa, depending on the revenue or the lead source. And so we're not only telling them the ROI and the cost per estimate, we're like, hey, these leads are better over here. Like we can literally show them that because the closing rate is higher or whatever. So, or we say, hey, you haven't been following up on these estimates as well as you could have. So like, it's very, very, very hands-on. Okay. Our marketing agency, my appointment center is right here. I'm in my office. I'm in the studio where we record stuff, but my appointment center is right here. My marketing team's right here, and my ops team's over there. And they can literally walk down the halls and all
work together,
figure out what's wrong with a location if something's off. And they can literally just walk the halls and help each other rather than waiting on a week from your vendor to get back to you.
Okay, cool. And then what does operation support look like today? And then like, how do you view it in a year from now, or whenever you have 200 locations? What's field support look like?
Yeah, so we are in the first, so we have our online training, then they have their in-person training, then they launch. After they launch, we have an official meeting every single week for the first 90 to 120 days, however long they need. During that time, we're reviewing estimates. We're helping them set up their first jobs. We're helping them recruit painters. We're doing all that kind of stuff. We're also talking to them almost daily during that time, but they have their officially weekly meeting. After that, they get put to their kind of one-on-one monthly meetings. And then if they're struggling, we'll put them back on weekly. We also have our weekly franchisee meeting where all the franchisees are on, and then they have anytime access to me if they want to talk about strategy or expansion or budget. So they can also schedule calls with me, and then they have the regular team with my support, the regular meetings with my support team. We also do field visits. We're doing a whole bunch right now. I think we have 25 field visits booked. So we're going out and visiting the locations. And sometimes most of the time that's helping them with sales. Sometimes it might be a different thing we focus on when we visit, but most of the time we're helping them get their sales up. So that's kind of what it looks like. I would say if anything, we over support. We're helping them with their job costing, with their accounting. There's not a single piece of this business that we don't touch and help them with.
Okay. And what are some of the channels that the franchisees communicate through? You say you have a weekly call. Do they have anything else they work through?
Franchisees also have a just a franchisee chat. That thing is rocking and rolling all day long. It's hard for me to even keep up. So they're helping each other out with estimates. Hey, I've got a customer complaining about this. Does anyone have experience with this? And they're literally just chatting and supporting each other and sending memes to each other.
There you go. Yeah, that's one of the best parts I think about being a franchisee that people don't even realize until they're in it, is that it's like the franchisee community. You end up making relationships and friends and learning, and then you go to the conferences, you meet up, and like sometimes the talk at the bar and stuff is more valuable than the stuff on the stage. But so anyways, that's pretty cool. What are your thoughts on, so up to this point, painting is historically tied to home sales, right? Someone wants to paint it before they sell it, and then the new person wants to paint it again. And so if home sales are going down, how do you think that'll affect your business? Do you see it as a threat? What are you doing to prepare for that?
Yeah, I actually think it's a good thing. I do believe there's a lot of painting that happens in the home transaction. Certainly, it's like we'll paint the house right before it sells or right after it was bought to change the colors or to freshen it up. But the other thing is, like, painting is actually, it's not one of the cheapest ways. There is no way you could do any other service to your home for as low of a cost and it has as dramatic of a change. Like, for $5,000, I can change the entire look of your home. Now some homes are 10, 20,000 if they're really big homes, but for the price, you can totally change the aesthetic, the feel. You can make a house go from like dirty and grungy and dark to bright and fresh and clean and beautiful for a very low price. There is no other home service that can have as dramatic of an effect for the same price. And I think so. Even the people ask about, what if there's a little bit of a recession or people aren't selling their homes or whatever? It's like, okay, they don't do the kitchen remodel or they hold off on the brand new hardwood floors and they're going to paint, because painting is the cheapest way to change the look of their home, or it's the cheapest way to update your home. They might not spend $100,000 remodeling that kitchen, but they might spend $7,000 repainting the cabinets. And so I wouldn't say it's recession proof. No business truly is, but it's definitely recession resilient, or there's definitely opportunities even in those times. So
okay, cool. Yeah, and I would agree with that. And if people locked in really a 3.25% on their mortgage or whatever, they're probably not going to move anytime soon. And then, like I said, that they might want to stay there longer instead of moving. Now they're like, all right, let's refresh it. Like you said,
exactly. Even during the pandemic, everybody, kind of had that moment where it slowed down and everything. But then immediately everybody's at home looking at their walls going, oh my gosh, I need to call a painter. And it ended up being good for business. So
cool. So let's touch a little bit on ResiBrands and so this is, I believe, the kind of the parent company, the holding company. And so I guess what's the vision for ResiBrands?
Yeah. So ResiBrands is really an extension of all that we do. So we have that one painter, and as I've developed the marketing agency, we now call that Resi Creative. And then we have our appointment center, which we call Resi Connect.
And why Resi? What's it mean? Residential?
Yeah, Resi is residential. Okay. Yeah, I do have to clarify that sometimes for people. So Resi's residential. We got it because we always said Resi repaint. So like we don't really do new construction very much. We actually don't really like new construction. We don't really like working with builders. So we do resi repaint. Like that's our bread and butter. That's our foundation. We do commercial work, but at our core, we're a resi repaint company. And so that was just always the lingo we were using. Right. And so we're like, let's call it resi, like ResiBrands. And so really our focus is home service, residential services. And so we developed a second brand called Garage Up. Garage Up is the first ever franchise opportunity where we do epoxy floors, cabinets, storage, garage doors, and a whole lot more. So it's basically the full garage renovation company. And so we're making garages. We can organize your garage. We can put up the slat walls, the overhead racks, the cabinets. We can even do some lighting stuff for you and also do the garage door. And kind of in the space, you've more traditionally had garage door franchises like ProLift or premium garage door. And then you have like Hello Garage and Garage Force and some of those out there that are kind of more of the epoxy franchise. And so we've taken the two models and brought it together, developed that. We have our FDD is live today. Do you have any locations? Is it a corporate run to start? We have a corporate location, and we have two franchisees ready to sign as soon as the FDD was out. And so the FDD is out, so they can get their FDD receipt in. Hopefully,
are you running that out of Austin, the first location?
Yes, first location is running out of Austin. It's doing really well. We're really excited about it.
Okay. And I guess you see synergies maybe with some cross marketing to customers to get their house painted to up garages and all that.
That's exactly right. So I have my corporate location here in Austin with my corporate location for That One Painter. And those two companies are referring each other business. And then we're cross marketing to the customers. We offer sometimes little discounts as well. Hey, you're already a That One Painter customer. You have opportunity here with Garage Up. Hey, you're a Garage Up customer. You have an opportunity with That One Painter. And so it's also an opportunity for franchisees to stack brands in one territory rather than owning That One Painters in different cities. They could have a That One Painter and a Garage Up, which would allow them to diversify and stack right within their city there.
Okay. What's it cost to start one of those up?
Garage Up is $99,000 to $137,000.
Okay. Similar model of 1099s and.
It's a hybrid model. So we do a van. It's a little bit more expensive than That One Painter because there's equipment that we have to get as well as a van, and you do 2 employees to be your installers. And you have that as your core because it's more profitable in this model with employees. And then we do subcontractors for the garage doors and other stuff.
Yep. Cool.
Yep.
What is one of your biggest challenges so far as being a franchisor?
Biggest challenge as a franchisor has been, I would say, a lot of things have gone really well. I'd say that just the organization and of all of it, it's a lot of conversations. It's a lot of opinions. It's a lot of documents. And so now I have, like, I joke, I have amazing people on my team that are really amazing at admin because that's not my like specialty. And I have built an amazing team now that they're super good at administrative stuff. I think for me in the beginning, it was keeping track of everything. It was so many moving pieces. Now we have all of that systematized in a lot of great systems. So I would say that was the hardest part because it was a little bit against my nature to be that.
Yeah, most sales and marketing guys aren't good at organization.
Exactly. So. Yeah, but now I'm very proud of what we have. So
awesome. So so then how do you go about prioritizing like your time? Like, so you're the leader of That One Painter, obviously the leader of Resi, you got the Garage Up. Like, how do you every day decide like where's your focus going to go?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I am pretty obsessed with time blocking on my calendar. So I have realized more recently though, that my job now has become to make sure that my team has their questions answered and that they have the resources and tools they need to do their jobs. And that has been a shift for me in the last few months where I was doing a lot of the things to then now I am mostly focused on helping other people do what they need to do. And so I really, every day I'm thinking, okay, does this team have what they need? Like if they're sending me a series of questions and they want things confirmed, that's the priority, because they can't do their jobs if I don't set them up for success. And so my job is to make sure that they have the tools, the resources, the information that they need to do their job well. And so I prioritize that above most other things, because if my team is killing it, we'll do well. And I hate to be micromanaged, and so I don't micromanage anyone. But I do want to make sure they have everything that they need.
Okay. Now, how many people are on that team?
30. I believe we have 31 people on our team now.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Cool. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. If anybody's interested in learning more, it's That One Painter, or they can reach out to me, and happy to introduce and work with you through the process. We've had a lot of success so far and help people get into it to you guys. And so thank you. And, having a cool brand that's going to disrupt the industry, right?
That's right. Yep. ResiBrands. Here we go.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day.
That's all we got for this episode with the Business with Beers podcast. One thing that would really help both us and other new potential listeners is to rate the show and leave a comment in iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you listen. Also, make sure to link up with me on your preferred social media platforms: LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can find all my links at brianbeers.com. Please just share the podcast with anyone who you think might enjoy it. And until next time, remember to take the actions others won't, to live the life that others don't.